So we're here today with Noah Christensen, who is a junior at Camas High School. You are a 2019 state football champion, and you've got a story to tell.
Yeah, so when I was 9, I was diagnosed with bipolar depression, which is pretty young for it, and ADHD, and there's a lot of mental things I had to go through. For years, I would have these periods where the bipolar would make me super manic, meaning I would be super hyped up, and not know what to do next. I have these big plans, like start a company or sing or something weird. Well, for me, that was weird anyway. And I would try to manage it in ways that I didn't know what to, in ways that I felt like were weird. I felt weird for many years. And the downside to bipolar is 2 parts. And the downside was I didn't want to do anything. I would want to lay in bed, and I would just throw these huge, massive fits if anyone ticked me off. And when I felt like I just didn't feel at peace with myself or others, and it was a really tough 5 or 6 years. And recently, with the bipolar, I've learned many strengths from it. From last October 2019, I was going through a really tough place, and when I was growing up, the bipolar was different than when I was going through puberty, I guess you could say. And when I got to the adult stage of bipolar, I learned many strengths from it, and I learned that you can always advocate for yourself. Adult bipolar is more like...
What is bipolar?
Oh, bipolar is a thing that you have 2 stages. You have the manic, and you have the downside to it, like the down or the depression. And as a kid, the depression for me was anger, and I would throw fits, I would be violent even, and I just didn't remember anything that I was doing. And the manic for me, like I said before, was I would want to have these huge ideas, I'd be super hyper, bouncing off the walls, didn't know what to do with myself. And as I've grown, the downside to it has changed. I've learned it's began to change into ways as if I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do the things I love, including football, working out, hanging with friends. I felt helpless, really. And manic's still the same, really. I've just super hyper, right? But through the years, I've learned that advocating for yourself and asking others for help is normal, and it's helpful for you. And in the long run, there may be times where you feel a little weird about it or embarrassed, but you never should be. It's something that you didn't do wrong. It's something that just happened that you had.
How do you advocate for yourself? What does that mean?
Well, advocating for yourself means going to the school. Well, first, okay. For me, the lockdown has been very tough for me. I've lost a lot of connections at the beginning, a lot of friends I didn't connect with really well.
Did you feel like you lost a little bit of your identity?
Yeah, football for me is my identity, and when that canceled, that was just a huge blow in my life. It affected my well-being. It's my identity that I learned to connect with when I was in 5th or 4th grade, and that's what I held on to. And when that was canceled, that felt like I was not myself. When the season was supposed to start and it didn't, that felt like the weirdest thing ever. That we're going this long without having an actual season, when I'm in this schedule every year that I go from season to off-season to season to off-season. Now it's just this huge off-season. And that was pretty tough.
And you feel isolated.
I feel isolated from my friends and from my identity. And I felt isolated from my normal self.
So Noah, how do you define advocacy?
So there's 5 main points I do in my life that I try to advocate for myself with. I have a schedule every day that I go through, and I do certain things like other parts of the advocacy. I work out. I tell someone how I'm feeling, if I'm feeling one of the polar points of manic or depressive. I take medication if needed, which means every day for me. That's how much I need it, and not hiding it from anyone. So I feel like I connect to people more if they know who I am and what I deal with.
Is this brave of you to talk about this?
I was really nervous to talk about this. For years, I've thought about it as being someone weird, I guess, and not normal. But I guess I've learned the past quarantine months that I've learned to live with it, and I've learned to learn from it. And I've grown so much strengths and from my weaknesses, and I've learned ways that I can have empathy for people,
Right.
and that I can just try to help people in any way I can, because I've been through this before, and a lot of people are going through things because of the quarantine that I've dealt with before.
Now, if you're talking to somebody who's dealing with similar issues or just flat out depressed because of the pandemic, because of the quarantine, because of the isolation, what message do you have for them?
It gets better.
It does get better. What should they do?
They should. Well, for me, I like to do things I do, like play football and work out. Those are the two main things that I identify with as a person.
It's an outlet for you, right?
It's outlet.
What does that do for you? When you're at the workout, do you think of just the workout? Is it just focusing on that one thing?
I think of my struggles. I recently, when I'm really struggling in a workout, like it's a tough workout, I think about what I'm fighting for. And I think about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I think about my why. I remember Coach Roll, freshman year in football, he talked about our why. Why are we doing something tough like starting high school football? And I wrote, because I get to practice a passion. I still remember that. And my passion has always been my outlet. And it's been my way to express myself and my feelings. So whatever you have in your life that you like to express and show your talent for, use that, and that helps a lot. And it shows you that you're worth the time and help that you need.
Very good. Now, have you worked with your counselors at school?
Through email, yes. It was a tough time trying to get things sorted out so I could go to the school, but now I go 4 days a week. And I think that it was my right, and I know it was my right, to ask for help.
Okay.
And for them to listen to me, because I needed to be listened to. And I needed them to know that I needed help.
And so you're at the high school in the classroom 4 days a week?
Yeah, Coach Jones, Alan Jones at the high school has helped me so much. And I want to thank him.
Way to go, Coach Jones.
Yeah, he goes through all our grades. He helps me plan out for the whole day. So there's times where I feel like I'm alone, but I'm really not. I'm never alone. I always have friends, family, and I always have someone looking out for me.
So being at school 4 days a week, what, 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day?
This is a full school day, so around 6.5, 7.
Okay. Is that helping you balance your life?
It's helped me get back to normal.
Okay.
Prior to quarantine, we all went to school. Well, my age, we all went to school, and we all were able to connect with people. And there's a couple of days where I have friends there that I talk to and I can communicate with, and we just try to have a normal conversation. Of course, 6 feet and social distancing, but we try to make it as normal as possible. And it's helped me so much with my academics too. I've learned to be patient, I guess you could say, with myself as I go through school.
So what's your final message to other students, other kids?
As I said before, you're not alone. I believe in a God, that He's always there for us. And I believe that even if you don't believe that, you should always have someone in your life that if they will be there for you, that you're never alone. You always have someone to talk to. And if you don't, you can talk to me. I'm all ears. And I feel like if you ever do feel alone, know that it does get better and that you will never be alone.